And I think we should keep going to the next topic now, which is what Raheem Mostert said about Kyle Shanahan yesterday. I thought it was fascinating. Mostert talked to the press, and he's kind of become the voice of the team, even though he's never started a game in his life, which is interesting because he's one of the grown-ups. He's 28, and he had nothing given to him. He worked very hard. He's very grown-up and mature, like Richard Sherman and Kyle Shanahan. So Mostert was talking, and he said that someone asked him, like, about the Super Bowl hangover and what's the mindset of the team? And I know you guys want to take care of business. And so he said, well, it's interesting. Kyle Shanahan invited me into his office just last week, one-on-one, man-to-man, to talk about this very thing. And he said, Raheem, what's the morale of the team? What is the attitude of the team now that we're having to start this whole monumentous trek over again? And what Raheem Mostert said was, look, as long as you're calling the plays, we're good. As long as you're calling the plays, we believe in you. And I think that was interesting. Like, part of the reason the Niners are going to be good this year, and I don't think are going to have a significant drop-off, is because there's 100% buy-in to Kyle Shanahan still, which might be kind of rare around the league. They really, really believe in him. And I think they enter games feeling like Shanahan has like the answers to the test. And as long as they just do what he says, they're going to win. And I'm sure that players felt that way about Bill Walsh back in the day, but he won a Super Bowl in his third year. Shanahan's lost 2. So I think it's interesting that he's maintained that level of faith from these players. At least that's what I noticed.
I think the players have good reason to have that unqualified faith in Shanahan, and I do with an asterisk. Yeah. What I would say about him, as an outsider looking in, this is one hell of an offensive coordinator. I mean, I feel that he's brilliant. I feel that for the most part during games, he makes the right call at the right time. And he makes not only the right call, astonishingly right calls.
Yes.
That he's just brilliant. And I could see how people on offense would believe in him. Now, as a head coach, I'm not there. I don't hear him talk to them. But I could see why they'd believe in Salah in the defense. I think he's another one that you would sell out for. So, sure, I understand that. I also understand that Mostert wasn't going to come to the media and say, I kind of believe in Kyle. I mean, let's be honest, right?
True.
What he's doing is he's being you say he's a grown-up. He's being a spokesman for the team and giving the best possible interpretation of what's going on. He's not going to say, like, sometimes Kyle really screws up.
Or there's a segment of the team that no longer believes in him.
Yeah. So what I take from what Mostert said is he's sincere, but I'd need to talk to more players.
Yeah.
Off the record or privately. So that. Now, the asterisk, and this is significant. Shanahan is great until he's not great.
And
he said,
I was going to talk about this. Let's go.
Okay, you know what I'm talking. You go for it.
Well, what I was going to say is, you say he always makes the right call, and he does until he's in the most pressurized moments of his life. The 2 Super Bowls in the fourth quarter, and a couple of games last year late against the Ravens, late against the Seahawks at home. He'd make some calls. You're like, wait a second. Like, did Shanahan leave? Is someone else calling plays or managing the clock? Because this is so un-Shanahan. Like, he goes from being aggressive to conservative, from decisive to wishy-washy. It's like, wait a second, this is not you. So to me, if I were one of his players, I'd be like, okay, well, we'll get back to the Super Bowl. We can do that. But what are you going to do if we get back there? Are you going to have a different temperament? Are you going to be more poised? Or are we going to repeat history? That would be the question. I think it'd have to be on every player's mind, because they should all have rings right now.
Oh, they should all have rings right now. So I would say I'm really, really in favor of Kyle Shanahan, but he still has something to prove. And I'm going to say he has the most important thing to prove, and the burden of proof is on him. And it still is. And in fact, it weighs heavier now because, I'm sorry, guys, he blew it in the Super Bowl. He blew it in that fourth quarter. You may get angry at my saying it. Remember, I'm not rooting for or against. I'm telling you what I saw. They had the game and they blew it. And so the burden of proof is now, I would say, like a safe on his back.
Right. And think about it from the leaders of the team's perspective, Nick Bosa, George Kittle. Do you think George Kittle this offseason was thinking, man, I let us down. I let us down. Or Nick Bosa, I let us down. I didn't do enough. No, I'm sure they thought, I played pretty well in that game. Our head coach let us down. We should have the rings. We should be champions right now. And the guy that we all believe in and who was so brilliant for the entire season blew it with a quarter left. And I don't understand why. I think they'd have to feel that way.
Well, it's a speculation. We don't really get to you don't really get to talk to them anymore. And my guess is you're not talking to Kittles that much anyway. So it's hard to know what he's thinking. But if I were there, I used to sometimes take classes with very famous professors, and I think, is this person really into it? Is this person trying hard? You're allowed to have thoughts like that. Now, I think Shanahan is trying hard. That doesn't matter. I do think, I'm going to say something, Iggy, at the 2 crisis moments of his career, he cracked.
Yeah, and the thing that I think is troubling about him is I'm not sure that he acknowledges that he cracked in either situation.
Yeah,
back in 2017, it was Matt Ryan's fault. It was the head coach's fault. It was the defense's fault. This year, it was Robert Saleh's fault, Jimmy Garoppolo's fault, and Mike Person's fault. If that's how we feel, that it's constantly other people's, and you had the right idea, then you're going to keep repeating your mistakes.
I think so.
He doesn't think he made any. We asked him after the game, did you do anything different? No. Asked him recently, would you do anything different? No.